All right, we are recording. Okay, all right, you guys. So I am just kind of going to kick it over to Jess. I'm going to let her share her story, her because of it works, her most biggest blessing because of this company, and then we'll get into all the good stuff and hear all of her tips. So Jess, I'm going to unmute you. Maybe. There we go. Okay, I think you're good.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so I'll talk about a little bit my story and why I said yes to this. I have been married for 15 years, and I had my degree in elementary education. I taught for only 3 years. I had every intention of going back to that, but so I taught for 3 years, started having babies, and my husband and I decided that I was going to stay home with the kids, and I was going to go back to teaching, like I said. And then my mom started a quilt shop, and we live in this little bitty town, and a quilt shop, she built this really fancy quilt shop in this little town. Everyone thought she was out of her mind, but she did it anyway. And we both quilt. That's a passion that we share together. And so I started being a stay-at-home mom and working a little bit in that quilt shop here and there. And then as my kids got older, I just kind of started in that position of running that business with her, alongside her. And so that's been 10 years. So I was going to go back to teaching when my youngest went to kindergarten, but I didn't. I fell into that quilt shop. And so that's where I've been. And then, hold on, my computer's telling me something. I don't know what it's telling me. Okay. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I did that. So working at the quilt shop, and we had, during the stay-at-home mom, and we just were terrible with money, we created all this consumer debt. And I was a yo-yo dieter, so I had this terrible relationship with food, just like out of control with money and food, basically. And so I was cleaning on the side to make extra money, and we started in on Dave Ramsey. God presented us with that, and we took off and followed his baby steps and paid off all of our consumer debt in 2.5 years. And when you live a debt-free lifestyle, you don't have extra money really, because you're only spending what you make. And so things were tight. We were check to check, month after month, and I needed a break in that. And so I picked up cleaning. So I was cleaning on the side, which I didn't like doing, but it was, giving a little extra money. And so I saw Melanie on Instagram, and she's a quilter, so that's what drew her to me. So it wasn't that she was posting a lot of it work stuff. It was her life that drew me to her. And so I watched her for probably 9 months. I think I could not stop thinking about this girl. So I unfollowed her for a while, unfriended her on Facebook because she was all I could think about. And then I found myself like writing her name down on a piece of paper and then going and finding her again, just constantly being drawn to her. So I thought, after 9 months of this, I thought, okay, that God is pushing me and I need to do this. And so I said yes. My husband is supportive, but also like, this is crazy. You're not really going to make money at this, but whatever. It's $99, so go do your thing. So anyway, I finally said yes to her, and I just started doing what she told me to do, and yeah, it's just been really, really great from then. So I guess I'll share a little bit about what it's done for me.
Let me ask you really quick before you go any further. Okay, so you said you followed her for 9 months, right? Yeah. Did you ever interact with her, like a picture, comment on a picture? No. Okay, yeah. Everybody hear that. Yeah. People are watching you, whether they're liking your stuff or not.
Yeah, they are. They are. They're watching. And like I said, I could not, I mean, I know for a fact, I write everything down, and I know I had wrote her name down because when I unfollowed her and unfriended her, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm going to be wanting to look this girl up again.
That's so funny.
So then later I'm going and finding her, I'm like total stalker, but it was her life that drew me to her. It wasn't that she was posting products. It was her life.
I love that so much. Okay, so tell us your biggest, best, because of it works. What's been the biggest blessing?
Okay, so like I said yes because I wanted, like my big dream, I thought, okay, in a year from now, if I could be making $200 a month, that would be amazing. So that was like my big dream in the beginning. And then I wanted to reach my goal weight and be able to maintain that. Now, the goal weight that I'm maintaining is not what I weighed, before I got married, but finding my new happy weight is what I really wanted. What would be my healthy, what I would feel good in. And so that's all happened. So the reaching goal weight happened really quickly with the products. I like the supplements. I like the products. I noticed, the appetite control right away. And then the $200 a month happened even really, really fast. And I thought, okay, I can dream bigger. I can dream bigger in this. And so we have saved with It Works. We have saved for several, little mini vacations that we took over the summer. I mean, when we paid off all our consumer debt, which was amazing. But like I said, there was no extra money. When you're living on what you make, you can't just swipe a credit card and have money for a vacation. That's no longer an option. And so it was like we had to be able to get money other places, because we still had all of our regular bills, electricity and water, and we still pay a mortgage. We're trying to pay that off, but we still have it. But we have no car loans or anything like that. So anyway, we were able to save for all these mini vacations. Now we're saving for a big family vacation in the spring. We're going to go to Florida for several weeks, which my husband loves Florida. He's a big Cardinals guy, so he likes to go watch the spring training. So we're going to go do that for several weeks. And so It Works is doing that, is paying those things. And then we're saving for landscaping projects. We live in a little town in the middle of nowhere, and we're going to have goats and chickens, which I know is crazy, but whatever. My kids are really excited about it, so we're saving for that, for like the fence and the pen and all that. So anyway, my big dream, which I don't even really tell him a whole lot about, because still in the back of my mind, I'm like, is this really possible? Can I really do this? But my big dream would be for him to be able to just, look at his job differently. He has to travel a lot with his job. And so I would like for him to be able to, look at something different and be able to be home more. So that would be my big dream, is to make enough money with this that he could do that.
Oh, I have goosebumps. I love it so much. So it's one of those, like, Elisha is very much like, he needs something to do. He needs to work. He needs to have his hands in something. But to be able to work because you want to and on your terms, not because you have to, is literally everything. So I love that so, so much. Okay, so let's go back to, you're just getting started. Did you have a big social media kind of network in the beginning, or how did you build that? What did that look like for you?
Okay, so for the quilt shop, and I know, God put me in the quilt shop to teach me this, because I have learned so much about running a business behind the scenes without an immediate reward through the quilt shop. So when I started with this, we have a brick and mortar store, so most of our business is done there. So we had a very small Facebook page that was with the quilt shop, and then I had an Instagram account that was my personal Instagram, but is mainly the quilt shop. And then I had a personal Facebook page that I never post anything on, and maybe 200 friends on there. So that's how I started. But really quickly, I understood that my Facebook page and my Instagram page was my store. So I saw it as what I see my brick and mortar quilt shop. I saw those social media accounts. So when someone come to my Facebook page, I wanted them to feel like they were in my store. So I wanted my pictures to be nice. I wanted my words at the top to be nice. I didn't want it to have "it works" all over it. I wanted people to just draw to my business. And that's what we have at the quilt shop. People come to the quilt shop because they're connecting to my mom and I. So pretty quickly, I saw that that's what my social media needed to be.
That's so awesome. Okay, so I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this, but can you, I promise. So because you have the experience of you own a brick and mortar, or you work very closely with your mom at her store that she owns. Talk to me about how lucky we are to be able to, okay, so I think when we're talking to potentials, we get really scared by the $99 and you have to buy some products every month. Talk to us just a little bit about how lucky we are to be able to run our business with such a low overhead.
I mean, I cannot express enough without divulging a lot of scary numbers to what it really takes to run that quilt shop every month. I mean, the amount of money and inventory, and you're buying all that inventory just hoping that someone walks in and buys it. And then like we had we're in Missouri, and we had a lot of flooding over the summer. So our quilt shop was basically like closed for a month. So, I mean, there wasn't income coming in, but there were still bills that had to be paid. We still had to pay for fabric. We still had to pay. So, I mean, it's just crazy. And so even when I paid my $99, it took me a little bit to understand that is all I have to spend to run my business. That's it. I mean, the products that I'm buying because I'm using. I don't have to have a closet full of stuff. So anyway, yeah, it's just, you really have to understand that this is your business and it just cost you $99, not $200,000 to fill it with inventory.
Right. I think we all just have to be so confident in that, and knowing like this opportunity can turn into whatever kind of income you want. And it literally is less than $100 to start. Like we have an amazing opportunity, but sometimes we get so scared about telling people, oh, but it's $99. You guys, that is a blessing and a gift to people. So just know that. Okay. So you started. Talk to us a little bit about how did you go about connecting with people, or how did you decide who to add to your network? How did you build your network in the beginning? Or still to this day, how do you build it?
Okay, so it's part of my list that I do every day is I add 25 to 50 Facebook friends every day. And I go to, so like people that are already commenting or liking my stuff, I'll go to them, and if they haven't blocked you from looking at their friends, because some of them do that, then you can go through their friends list. But of course, Facebook, they want you to friend people that you have mutual friends with, so you kind of have to be careful with that. But and I feel like I've been in it for a year, so I'm starting to look at people that I'm friends with that are outside of Missouri, and trying to grow broader than that. And like if you can wrap, when people are like, oh, I don't know very many people, and I mean that was true before social media. But now you don't have to know these people. But I do think that, a lot of people that signed, I knew just out because of the quilt shop, and they knew me that way, so they were comfortable with me. But now that I'm friending people that don't know me, you have to build a relationship with them, and that's where the posting and the stories and all that comes in. Posting outside of it works because they're connecting to you. So anyway, I friend on Facebook, and then I follow on Instagram 200, and then I do the Captivate where you're deleting, and always the friends that I'm following needs to be less. I think I'm saying that right. Needs to be less than, the numbers need to be evened up.
Yeah. So if you guys don't know what she's talking about, on Instagram, you know how it says like who you're following and your followers, those numbers, you want them to be pretty close. Because if you have 200 followers, but you're following 2,754 people, you look like a total spammer. So just make sure that your numbers are kind of similar. I love that tip. Okay. So let's talk about what you're actually like posting every single day. How did you decide? Like, how did you learn? Because I know when I go to Jessica Defibaugh's page, what I'm going to find. Like, you have done a brilliant job branding yourself. I know your slogan is eat less, move more, take your supplements. I know that. I know you're all about your Dave Ramsey budgeting. Like, I know what I'm going to get when I come to your page. So how did you kind of develop that brand, or how do you coach your new people to start posting and to build their brand?
Okay, so I think again through the quilt shop, and now I see clearly that was my path. That's how I was able to do this. So just take my word for it. If you don't have your own business, just take my word for it. But people they're not buying. The world that we live in, they can go buy stuff all day long, just the click of a few buttons. So they're not buying because of the product, they're buying because of you. They're connecting to you, and they want what you have. They're drawing to you, and whatever's making you happy, whatever's making your life look improved and better, they want that. And so I myself, and I teach my team to come up with a list of 3 to 7 things that's you outside of It Works. And so mine would be the debt-free lifestyle, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, my pets, recipes, and then quilting. And so those are, so really think about what makes you outside of It Works, and then that's what you stick to on your posting. And so I even have a calendar. Every month I print out a new calendar, and I'll, go through that calendar and write down which of those topics I'm going to be, kind of focused on for that day. And that's basically what I stick to.
I love it. Okay, so let's talk about this too really quick. And maybe you might bring this up later on your top tips, but let's talk about really fast. What impact have the products and your personal testimony on the products? How much easier has that made what you're posting about? Like, does that tie in together? Does that make your job posting so much easier?
Yes, like you're saying, like I'm using the products,
Yeah.
and that's okay. So yeah, so really, I mean, anything that I'm posting, I am always linking back to my life has improved because of the business, because of the products. And, I really actually mean that. I'm not making that up. My life is improved because of the business, because of the products. And so I think that goes into actually, you have to use the products to be able to be a testimony to that. So anyway, yeah, so everything I post, I try to link it back, not always, but sometimes in my posting that day, I'm going to be linking it back to my work from phone business, to my improved life because of the supplements.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, perfect. Okay, so let's go into I know you mentioned earlier you do a 6 list, but what are the actual tasks that are on your 6 list? What are the non-negotiables that you do every single day for your business?
Okay, well, first of all, I'll say I'm human, just like everybody else, and I get busy and distracted, and sometimes just lazy, just like, because, and I mean, with the quilt shop, same way, no one cares if I do it. No one's there firing me for not doing it, but my paycheck directly relates to me completing those tasks on that list every single day. And so once you wrap your mind around that, and it's like, okay, you do the task today and for the next 2 weeks and, you know, you're not seeing a change, it doesn't mean it's not coming. It's coming. But as soon as you quit doing it, it's like you're starting all over again. You know, so you're building that relationship all over again. It's just such a waste of time. So don't do that. Just stick with your list, stick with your posting and your stories and all that. Okay, so what's on my list is I add 25 to 50 Facebook friends every day. And then another important thing is to go back and delete your old, you know, the people that you've added that haven't responded yet. You have to go back and delete them every once in a while. I don't know, messes up Facebook, I guess, the algorithm or something, I don't know, but I do notice when I go back and delete them, then I kind of get a jump in my likes and comments and stuff. So 25 to 50 Facebook friends, follow 200 on Instagram. I send 40 messages. So I would like to be like, I only do attraction marketing and I never have to send messages. That would be a perfect world, but that world doesn't exist for me. So I don't know if there's a time that it does, but it doesn't for me yet. So I feel I have to do all of it. So I print off my Facebook friends list, and then that's where I send those 40 messages. So every one of my Facebook friends, I go to them and I think, okay, if I'm not comfortable to send them a message, then I can't be friends with them. So then I'm going to delete them and I'm going to, you know, add more friends in there. So you have to be able to send that message. The message can be, I mean, like the celery juice, I would just send, hey, I got a weird question. Have you heard of celery juicing? And that's it. And people respond, some people don't. Some people tell you to leave them alone or whatever, but you just move on and keep sending your messages. So send 40 messages. I also do some email marketing. So I feel like the customers that I have, I add them to an email and then I send out this email, which I treat it basically the same as Facebook with sticking to those 3 to 6 things, you know, quilting, recipes, that kind of stuff on that email. But it helps, I feel like it helps keep my loyals loyal. So part of my 6 list is plan or send the email. I write 1 thank you card a day. So an old loyal customer, I send them a thank you card, you know, hey, whatever, thinking of you. Or if I've signed a new customer, I send them a thank you card. I always add the keto energy in the thank you card. That's like one of my favorite things that I talk about all the time. So I put that in there. And then I post every day on Facebook and Instagram, and then I do my stories every day. So that's my list. And then at least once a week, I try to go over my chart and pray over my chart. You know, pray for the boxes that I want to be filled. And it's not about that I want them filled. It's about the lives that I want to help improve. You know, the people that I want their lives to be better, like mine. So it's not, I try to make that prayer not about me, but about the people.
I love that so much. Okay, so we have a question. So can you explain a little bit more about your email marketing, or how you get people on kind of the email campaign, what you put in them, that kind of thing?
Okay. So I use the MailChimp. I know that we have on our Connect apps emailing, but when I first started doing it, I couldn't get the emailing part to work. So I don't know if that's changed. I haven't went back and looked, but so anyway, I do MailChimp, and it's free until you get to so many emails. I think it's like 5,000 emails or something. So every loyal customer that I sign, I put them in there. And then on my Facebook page, I have a little thing that says like life story emails with Jessica or something. And then and then I have a link on MailChimp. You can create a landing page where people can just click there and then sign up. So you don't have to actually collect their emails. They just sign up on their own. And then I send out an email 3 to 5 times a week, and I am in that email. I have links to our products, a link to joining my team, and then I also like a couple times a week I'll share my weight loss story and how I feel about with the products. But then I'm also sharing just debt-free stuff, you know, a lot of those other things that people are just connecting to me for.
Yeah. If you go to her page, you can see how brilliantly she puts it in there, because it's all about like her debt-free lifestyle. And then she's like, for more tips, follow here, or a recipe for more tips. Put your email in here. Like it's so brilliant. It's so good. I know like email marketing, Rachel Hollis is super huge into email drip campaigns. If you do her business coaching, she preaches email drip campaigns, email drip campaigns. So they are super, super powerful. So I love that you brought that up, because that's not something that we talk about a ton, but I think it's a really good thing to start implementing.
It's a kind of a lot like, you know, send out 100 messages and you get 95 no's to get 5 yeses. So the email marketing is sort of the same way. The more people you can get in there, the more likely you're going to get that yes, or that, you know, that repeat customer. So when I wrapped my mind around that, it was like, oh, I should give that a try.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I love that so much. Okay. So let's go into, okay. So you are like consistently a top enroller for both customers and distributors. So let's start with customers. What are your top tips for sealing the deal with customers?
So there's always room to get better, always. And I love that, you know, that we can just constantly be growing and learning. And there's so many, you know, videos and books and information out there to get better all the time. So my number one tip is use your products and talk about them. And not everybody has the money to use them. I know, you know, when we were paying off our debts and swiping credit cards all the time, I mean, I couldn't justify, you know, using products. I should have, you know, it's like, well, people are spending $100 at Target, you know, why aren't they just buying supplements to improve their life? But anyway, just pick one product. Like the Keto Energy is $30, you know, just pick something and talk about it. Use it and talk about it all the time. Of course, I suggest running that 80 BB auto shipment, you know, that's what you should be doing. But anyway, use your products. And then the posting and the stories, do polls on your stories. Now in my stories, I will talk more about it works specifically, not on the Facebook post, but in my story. So, and then utilize polls in there. And then anyone that, you know, comments on those polls, I send them a message, and then, you know, following up with people. So, you know, the next day asking them, you know, hey, did you get my message, or did you have a chance to check it out, or whatever. And then, yeah, that's kind of what I do to just get customers, I guess. Yeah.
Awesome. And the other thing that I noticed, like you are just so consistent, and okay, so if I'm watching your story, I know tomorrow is going to be day 32 of a 100-day challenge, and every single day you are showing up to do that 100-day challenge. So talk about, just real quick, the importance of people seeing the same thing over and over and over, because it's not they see it once and they order, which I think is what people think like happens, but that is not the case, right?
And that's not happening. And I mean, I think back to my own buying, you know, if you can relate what your social selling to your own social buying, you're not buying things the first time you see it. I mean, I have 2 house cats, and this cat litter I have looked at, which is the stupidest thing, but finally it was like, today's the day, and I've seen it probably 100 times. So, you know, when you can connect that people need to see it that many times, the same exact thing before they're ready to buy, then you've got it figured out. And if you don't feel like a broken record, then you're not doing it right. You should feel like you're doing the same thing every single day.
Yep. That used to be my thing. I'm like, I don't feel like I have anything new to say. Well, guess what? If you're adding new people to your network all the time, they haven't heard it before, but everybody who's been in your network has to hear it over and over and over before that little light bulb finally goes off, that they're like, oh, maybe that is for me, this thing she's been telling me about every single day for the past 9 months. Right.
Fine.
Okay, so let's talk about your top tips for distributors.
Okay, so for distributors, I created this on my stories, and I feel like that everything kind of shifted when I did this. So I was actually on one of your power hours, and you were talking about creating your story and like, you know, how you got started with it works basically. So I have like pictures of my family and, you know, this quilt shop, and like go through the whole story of why I said yes and what it's done for me. So it's like 10 different slides, I guess, what you'd say on stories. And then on the last slide, I say I have 3 spots to join my VIP, and people love VIP. If you can throw that in there somewhere, they love being a VIP. So I have 3 spots to join my VIP team, and then a poll. And so anyway, I post that 4 times a week on my stories, and I mean, people see it and see it and see it, and then finally they'll, you know, they want more information. So I mean, I feel like that's what really shifted with the distributors, with being able to sign distributors, is that story. And then as far as like on my post, at least, you know, once a day, I'm talking about the business and what it's done for me. And I call it, you know, my work from phone business. I don't say anything about it being at work. So I just say, this is what my work from phone business has done for me, kind of thing. And I talk about that in my post. And then people will message or on that poll, and then I get the conversation started. If you can just accept that they're not probably going to sign up that very second, but they are going to sign up eventually. And so you just keep the conversation going, and then I write down any potentials, and I will, you know, kind of become stalkers of their Facebook page. And, you know, I'll be going and liking stuff that they're doing, you know, just always keeping me in the back of their mind.
Mm-hmm. So I think I know the answer to this. Britt asked, do you use the same story every time, or do you have a couple different versions that you use? Do you make a new one?
Well, I mean, I've only been doing this like 2 months probably, and I have made a new one at the beginning of every month. So today I sat down and made a new one. It's basically saying the same thing. I'm just changing the pictures basically.
Yep.
So like I talk about, you know, my debt-free lifestyle, kind of go through that and why I said yes, and pretty much the same thing.
That literally is one of my favorite things to do, is share. And I think it's the most powerful thing, to share my story. And then I share other people's stories constantly, because people want to connect to something. They want to relate to something before they think about joining. And so like tonight, I'm going to post a picture of you on this Zoom, a picture of me and you together. And then I'm going to share your story. Like that's just, there's so much power in that. So sharing your personal story, but sharing other people's story too, has made a huge impact and anytime you can get around your team, or like we're going to start having the team meetings and things like that, take pictures with everybody. So that way you can post a picture of you with this person that you're going to be sharing, so that people know it's a real person, and somebody that you have a connection to. Okay. So somebody asked, do you message people directly about becoming a distributor, or do you wait for them to come to you?
Sometimes I'll message. I mean, if I feel like if maybe I don't have a great potential distributor list, then I'll start, you know, in those 40 messages, I will send out some that are, you know, hey, have you thought about doing what I'm doing? And just as simple as that, you know, and at least then they're going to be like, I don't know what you're doing. You know, at least it gets them to ask a question, gets them to come to your page and see what you're doing, gives you an opportunity to explain, you know, what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Really, when that's my goal, when I message somebody, my goal is I want them to click on my page, because then they're going to start following. Because most people are going to be like, I have no idea what she's talking about. What is she doing? And they're going to click on your page, and it just starts that, like, it plants a seed. Plants a seed, you guys. This business is all about planting seeds and harvesting later. Oh, I was going to ask something. Oh, I know what I was going to ask. Okay, so talk to me about, because you go live a lot which I love. And we used to preach going live heavy. And now I've just started getting back to going live. Talk about the impact that going live has had on your business.
Well, I think again, and I mean, I don't love it. I don't love, it makes me nervous. I always am. And actually at the Diamond, at the retreat that we went to, you said you never go back and watch them. And so that's what I've been doing. I never go back and watch it, because if I go back, I will pick myself apart and I will delete it. So I don't go back unless I said like a cuss word or something. Then maybe I should go back and get rid of it. But anyway, yeah. So I feel like it connects people to me. And I mean, really, every time I go live, I have somebody message me about the product I'm talking about the 100-day challenge. So I mean, it works to go live, talk about whatever, and then I mean, really, almost every time I have someone message me.
There is so much power in live video. And I think too, the reason I don't go back and like watch them is because I will pick myself apart. And but people relate to the awkwardness of me, and they relate to like, oh, you don't have to be perfect. You can mess up. You can say you can say you can mess with your hair all the time, because those are all my little quirks, and I know that. Like, you notice stuff in your videos that you're like, oh, why am I doing that? But it literally, people relate to the realness of you. As long as you're staying true to you, people relate to that. Is it different to go live versus posting a pre-recorded video? So big thing about going live is people get notified when you go live. And so usually, I mean, you can always switch it up and kind of do a little bit of both, but people will get notified when you go live. So your views is usually higher on a live video, and people can interact, and you can ask questions or have people drop things in the comments. And the more they interact with you, it's going to boost the algorithm more. So like when people say like, tell me where you're watching from, they don't really care where you're watching from. They just want you to interact with the video because it boosts the algorithm. So you can do that on a live video where you can't do that. You can't do that on a recorded. If anybody else has any other questions for Jess before we let her go. Jess, what would you say your either number one tip would be for people who are just starting out or who are building, or what was like maybe one thing you would go back and change or do differently? Give us one thing to leave with.
Okay, so if you're just starting out, my tip is, don't cut yourself short and give up too soon. Just keep doing your thing, and God placed it on your heart for a reason. I mean, like, I've stalked Melanie for months and months and months before I said yes. I mean, he's persistent, so it kept being there. And if I could have quit when it was hard or when it's slow. You could just throw up your hands, be like, this isn't for me, I'm done. But it was placed there for a reason, so just keep at it. And by keeping at it doesn't mean just sit and think about it. Actually do the things. Actually do the things, even though nobody's signing up, nobody's messaging, nobody's liking or commenting. You just keep doing the things day after day after day. It feels mundane. It feels like it's not working out. You're not getting anywhere, but it will pay off. It will come.
Amen. Amen, sister.
It will come.
Absolutely. I just adore you so much. You're one of my favorite people to follow. I love how you work your business, and you're such a rock star, and we appreciate everything you do. I know everybody loved this Zoom so much. Before we hop off, I want to remind everybody that we do have an opportunity event on Wednesday. It'll be at 9:00. We all did great sharing it last time and hosting our watch party. So we'll do it again. Make sure you're inviting new potentials. That's kind of the goal, that every single week you're having conversations with people, so that you can at least get them to a point where you can say, hey, we have an opportunity event. Would you want to check it out on Wednesday? I can send you an invite. It's super simple. So that's the reason we're doing them every single week, so that you can always just have one for your new folks. So We appreciate you so, so much. Just hang on. We're going to take a picture before we get off. We got to take a picture. Okay, hang on. Everybody fix your hair. I love when I say we're going to take a picture. Everybody's like, oh, yeah. I love it. Okay, hang on. Picture, picture. Okay, smile. Oh, my screen's all kinds of dirty. Okay. Everybody got your pictures that you want before we hop off of here? All right, you guys. So good to see all your faces tonight. Jess, thanks again. I just adore you. Thank you so much. It was so good. All right, good night, guys.